Hey friends, my name is Gabby and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about letting go and surrender. I love this subject so much. I constantly implement letting go and surrender into my daily life because it just brings back the magical aspect of life, but also rather than forcing things to happen, it creates space to allow things to happen. And I believe that now more than ever, this is very important because there's such a strong emphasis on forcing things to happen and taking nonstop action and, being insanely productive and constantly busy, rather than just letting go, surrendering, and creating the space where things can start flowing into your life effortlessly. So that is what I'm gonna talk to you about today. But of course, to start off, we need to define what is letting go and surrender. To let go and surrender means to give oneself over to something and stop resisting. So letting go is all about turning over your fears, worries, problems, anxieties, anything that is bothering you to something higher and something outside yourself, whether it's God, the universe, angels, your higher power, Mother Nature. You can use whatever word or phrase speaks to you the most, but it's all about just taking everything inside of you that you don't know, how to cope with or how to solve a certain problem. It's taking all that outside of you and just saying, you know what, I surrender, and just please help me, deal with this thing, and please help me allow things to come to me, and please help me solve this problem that I have. Letting go is simple, but quite often it is not easy because we love control. We love knowing how things are gonna happen, where they're gonna happen, when and how and with whom they're gonna happen, because our mind loves to connect all the dots. It wants to have point A, point B, and it wants to know exactly how we're gonna get there and when we're gonna get there. So letting go and surrender often feels unfamiliar and a little bit scary because we have to let go of control. However, when we do let go of control, magical things happen. And I can't tell you enough of how big of an impact this tool has had in my life and how things magically out of nowhere started to fall into place and appear into my life. And that's exactly why I'm making this video. So how do I surrender? Well, first of all, I am very stubborn. I love control and I don't like asking for help. I believe that, I'm able to solve everything by myself and, can figure everything out by myself, and I don't need any help, and I know better than everybody else. Spoiler alert, I don't, and often it doesn't work. So for me, especially when I was going through a really difficult time when I lived in New York and I was in this weird phase of not knowing if I want to move back to Europe or not, and nothing was moving in my life in New York, everything was stalling, I realized that I was really resisting. So when I really sat with it and realized that I want to move back to Europe, and I just surrendered the decision and let go, in the next week, everything, and I'm telling you, everything just fell into place and solved itself. All the problems that I had solved themselves. I made a decision, and 2 days later I had tenants who were taking over my apartment, signing a lease with my landlady, buying all of my furniture, and everything started falling into place. And I made videos about it as well if you want to check it out. But basically, I use surrender when I don't know what to do and how to do it, and I'm stuck in this place of, I don't even know what I want. Like, how could I possibly, attract this thing or call this thing into my life? And the way in which I surrender usually is through prayer. So whether it's, having a certain prayer that I say out loud, or just laying in bed or sitting and talking out loud to the universe, this is a form of, praying that I do. I also write and journal. So I write letters to the universe, or I just write down all of my problems and things that I'm dealing with on a piece of paper as a form of completely letting go and getting it out of my system. And afterwards you can, shred the letter, you can burn the letter, you can put it in an envelope and just hide it somewhere far away. So years later you can look back on it and be like, oh my God, I wrote it down, and then it solved itself out, because that's the way it works. I also love to physically move out the energy and physically surrender. So whether it's crying, and crying is a very natural, organic form of surrender because we have so much built up emotionally, mentally, and physically. We hold a lot of tension. So when we let go, we are physically moving out that energy. So it really, really works, but also you can't force it. I also like to box or run when it comes to surrender, because I feel like I am also physically moving out of that energy and I am physically surrendering. So whatever is within me that's happening, I'm gonna run it out, I'm gonna box it out, I'm gonna sprint it out, and it's really gonna work because all these thoughts or worries have been in my physical body so much that my mind feels cluttered, but also my body feels cluttered. So this way, when I sprint it out or run it out, or also sometimes dance it out, my mind is clear. I just completely surrendered, but also physically I feel so much lighter. So where can you use this? My answer is everywhere and anywhere. Whatever you're dealing with, from the smallest of problems to the biggest of issues, you can use letting go and surrender. It works everywhere. Whether you are unemployed and you have no idea how to get a job, or you want a relationship and you don't know how to call it in, or if you want community or more friendships, or if you want to call in more money, or if you want to call in certain clients, or if you're moving to a new country and you don't know how to find a place to live somewhere else, use letting go and surrender. It works like magic. So whether it's something really small or something very big, it works everywhere. And honestly, I've had incredible results with, big things like deciding to move back to Europe, but also during my time in New York when I was struggling a little bit or I needed an extra client or two, I would literally just say out loud, universe, I need a little bit more money, like help me out, I need a client. And then magically, the next day or in the next 48 hours, I would get a message from a current client saying that their friend wants to train with me, or I would get a random booking, or somebody would contact me out of nowhere, and I would always be in awe. I'd always be like, oh my God, all I had to do is declare what I want, completely let go, and then just allow things to happen. So it works like magic and you can use it anywhere. Now, how can you surrender? I believe that surrender is a practice. It's a spiritual practice. If you don't like the word spiritual, you can just say it's a practice. And there are a lot of different ways to do it. Now, what works for me might not work for you. And that's exactly why I'm gonna list a few different things which you can try out and see what sticks and see what doesn't. So a few of the ways that you can practice surrender and letting go are praying, journaling/writing, meditating, crying, movements such as running, dancing, boxing, yoga, and spending time in nature. When it comes to praying, as I said, I either sit and, I have a certain prayer that I say out loud. I love prayers by Gabby Bernstein. I'm gonna link some of her resources below. So I just repeat these prayers either out loud or to myself, or, I lay in bed at night and I talk to the universe or God in my head, or I talk out loud. So these are the forms of prayer that you can have, or you can make something up by yourself. Another thing is journaling/writing, and I love just writing down my thoughts or whatever I'm dealing with on a piece of paper, because I feel like I am physically moving it out of my mind and onto this paper that afterwards, just allows me to get rid of it. So when it comes to writing, you can write a letter to God, you can write the letter to the universe, and just completely say what you're dealing with, say what you're going through, and be like, I don't want this anymore, please help me out. Or you can have very specific prompts for journaling, like, what are you dealing with? How are you feeling right now? If this problem was solved, how would you feel? I feel like I need to write a blog post about it, but I'm gonna list a few resources below. But journaling and writing, you can either write a letter to a higher power, or you can just answer a few prompts and this way connect more with what's happening in your mind. Now, the next thing is meditating. I made a whole video about meditation. I'm gonna link it above. But whether it's sitting in silence for a few minutes or doing a certain guided meditation, meditation really allows you to ground yourself and get inside your body, but also observe what is happening in your mind, right? Meditation is not about getting rid of your thoughts and not thinking anything. It's about becoming an outside observer of what is happening in your mind. And I feel like meditation beautifully links with spending time in nature, because I think that spending time in nature, when you're not on your phone and you're fully present in nature, is a form of meditation and a form of even prayer in itself. So whether it's going for a walk in a park, or hiking, or sitting by a river, I believe that spending time in nature connects us to this higher power, because It's like this infinite intelligence that is moving the river and is moving the leaves and created all these beautiful trees and plants that weren't man-made. So definitely try out going and connected to nature, because you're gonna feel more connected to the universe, and it's gonna help you just give away your problems. And the last one is, you know, some kind of movement. As I said, I like to run, I like to sprint, I like to box. So find a way physically in which you can just move out your worries and surrender. Whether it's yoga, that's a little bit more grounding and maybe, you know, softer, or maybe it's something like sprinting and boxing and cycling, you know, be as creative as you want. Sometimes maybe you even want to dance it out. So put on some music, and whatever you're dealing with, just completely shake it out of your body. So movement in itself can be a beautiful way to surrender. As I said, I'm listing out a few of the ways that work for me, but if none of these ways work for you, get creative. Maybe for you, it's writing a poem or writing a song or playing the guitar or painting. Find a way in which you can completely detach and let go of your worries and problems, and just play around with it. So definitely when you start trying out a few of the ways that I've listed, or, you know, playing around with what works for you, you're gonna find a way in which it's the easiest for you to surrender, but also a way in which you resonate with the most. Now, in closing, I just want you to remember that letting go is not the same as giving up. If you give up on something, you're saying, I don't care about it anymore. I don't want to pursue it anymore. I am done with it. Like, whatever. I don't need it. I don't want it anymore. And that is the opposite of surrender. When you surrender, you are getting out of your own way, right? Rather than having a limited view of something, you are opening up yourself to all these different possibilities that otherwise might not be available to you, that otherwise you might not be able to see. You know, if you are looking to the left and you're so focused on looking to the left because you think that's where your dream partner is coming from, you might just miss him because he's standing right behind you to the right, waving at you, saying, hey, I'm here, but obviously you're not looking at me. It's almost like, you know, the horses have the little blinders on their side so they can't see what's outside of that. So surrender and letting go is like taking away these blinders. It's like breaking open this wall that you have constructed yourself, and behind this wall are all the things that you want. And when you break down the wall, when you surrender, you're finally allowing the things that you want to come in. You're finally allowing the things that you want to present themselves. And, you know, you're gonna start having random thoughts or, you know, inspirations to do something, to act on something, take a certain action. You know, you're gonna be walking down the street and you're gonna take the wrong turn and you're gonna bump into a person who's gonna introduce you to another person, and then you're gonna get your dream job. When you surrender, a random friend is gonna reach out saying, hey, I have these tickets to a concert, do you wanna come with me? And then you're gonna go to the concert and you're gonna meet the love of your life at that concert. When you let go and surrender, you are finally saying to the universe, I am ready to be guided. I really want this. I am committed to this, but I am completely open to your guidance. So lead me where I need to go. Guide me where I need to go. So letting go is not giving up. It's the opposite. When you let go and surrender, you take back your power. When you let go and surrender, you are saying, finally, I am an open channel. I am open for all the things that I want, and then they can start flowing into your life. I honestly cannot tell you how powerful and incredible this technique is. And if you want me to make a video on, you know, all the stories that I've had in my life, you know, when I surrendered and let go, how things started flowing in, let me know. I would love to make a video like this. And let me know in the comments below where you need to let go and surrender a little bit more and force a little bit less. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. I am so passionate about the subject. I love spirituality, I love psychology, and letting go and surrender has been one of the biggest things in my life that has created things for me, but also that has allowed me to experience and call in all the things that I want. So that's why I wanted to make a video about it. So thank you so much for clicking on this video and watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.